All right. So without further ado, it's Arielle and I.
So yeah, we do this like every Sunday. We record a podcast together. We love to do this and just kind of get on and talk and share with you guys what we have to, say and just kind of share mental health out there.
Absolutely. All right. So y'all get to see a little bit of behind the scenes of how we do what we do. So
Right.
Are you ready on your end with all the stuff that you got? You have it all set up?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so you let me know.
Okay. So we've been doing this 4 agreement series for the past few episodes. We've done 3 so far, and this will be our 4th series from the book, The 4 Agreements. Heather?
Oh, you know what? I'm literally thinking like we have to do the whole countdown thing. Y'all.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I
know I'm right. I know I'm right.
God, we were actually recording.
We are really recording, Arielle.
Hold on. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, give me 1 second. 3, 2, 1. Hi, Corkies.
Hey, Corkies. Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Uncorked.
Yes.
So if you've been listening to us, of course, we have been on our 4 agreement series, and today is the closing of that series with the 4th agreement. Drum roll. Always do your best. Yes. So how about we start off with a quick recap of what the 1, 2, 3 other agreements are.
Yeah, so the first agreement was to be impeccable with your word, right? So speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others, right? Use the power of your word in the direction of your truth and your love. So really mean what you say and say what you mean, because your word really matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the second one was do not take anything personally. And I think we had all agreed that like this one is a difficult one because it's just so easy to take things that people say or do just so personal as personal attacks, but it really is not the case. So nothing others do is because of us. So what others say and do is a projection of their own reality. So like their own feelings, experience, thoughts, and their own dream. So in the book, he calls it like a reality and a dream state. And so he's saying all these things are because of their own reality and their own dream state. And so when you are immune and you have this agreement kind of under control, you don't allow the opinions and actions of others to affect you. So you don't become like a victim of needless suffering because you feel like you're being attacked all the time. It just doesn't bother you as much.
Mm-hmm. And the third agreement is to don't make assumptions, right? So find the courage to ask those questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with other people as clearly as you possibly can, just to avoid misunderstandings, any sadness or drama, right? You can completely transform your life with just this one agreement. Really just being clear with your word and talking with people and understanding completely will help you a lot in the long term.
Yeah, I also struggle with that one. And so the 4th agreement is to always do your best. And so he kind of, in my opinion, kind of wrote it backwards because I would think that always do your best would come first. But if you read the book and you have the opportunity to, I highly, highly suggest it. I think we've mentioned in previous podcasts that it's super cheap. It's like $6 and some change on Amazon. I found like a ton of copies in the 5 and below where I live at. So $5 for some books. I just wiped them all clean and bought them all. And we'll be giving them out as gifts because it really is that great of a book. But when it comes to always do your best, the book says that having that as a strong foundation will automatically help you with the other 3 agreements, right? And so if there's any agreement that you really hone in and focus on and try to really make part of how you live your life, you want to do the always do your best. And then the other ones will just kind of come as the overflow of that one.
Yeah, and your best can change from day to day, right? So like my best today may not be my best that it was yesterday or like tomorrow. Like I may feel super motivated today, but yesterday I felt maybe some kind of sluggish or unmotivated. So your best can change from day to day, week to week, month to month, and that's okay, right? We're not going to always have this like great energy or like determination or motivation to do things. Like just try your best and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I love that. Because yeah, some days is I always like to tell the people like, some days my best is that I just woke up and now that I have a son, like if I can get him out the house and dressed, no, regardless of how I am, like I'm good.
Mhm.
But some days my best is like we just gonna thug it out and we just gonna be on this couch all day long and just chill because that's just all I have to give at that day. So it really can look different, and it doesn't mean that I didn't give it my all one day and I did the other. That was just all I had the capacity to, which I think is starting to become like a big buzzword of what that capacity that we have to carry, right? And so really knowing what your capacity looks like for you
Mhm.
and not the other person, right? Because if I was to compare myself, and I'm gonna use Arielle as an example, right? If I was to compare myself to her on a day-to-day basis, I would be somewhere down and out depressed
Oh my
because
gosh.
this girl is like organized, like she's everything I want to be when I grow up, right? But that is not what my call in life to be like, right? And so I really have to be mindful. Coach D talked about being mindful of ourselves and having a self-awareness. And so me being aware of what my personal best is and making sure that I hold myself accountable to what that best is for me and not comparing it to what other people's best look like.
Mhm. That's really, really important. Like, I love a good to-do list, right? So I keep a to-do list for like my daily to-dos and then maybe like my long-term ones as well. And sometimes I just don't get to my list. Like I get really disappointed in myself, but I'm like, I just don't have the capacity to get to this list today. Like I just don't feel like doing it. And that's okay, right? Like you don't have to always be on your game all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think part of that is also on the flip side, sometimes we give ourselves way too many excuses, right? So then we're not doing our best, even when we do have the capacity to do more, right? And so the book really talks about like really holding yourself accountable and really being honest about it, right? And so are you not taking stuff and checking off your list because there really truly is a barrier, or are you really not motivated to do whatever that thing is it not important to you, or you just procrastinating, which is not your best. Procrastination is not your best. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
And
Another part of always doing your best is making sure that you, how can I say this, can support that over time, right? And so the longevity of doing your best, knowing when, and we talked about self-care earlier of, okay, even though I've been functioning, doing all this stuff, I might need to take a break and that be your best, right? Some days taking a break is the best thing for you to do.
right, right. Some people, function at a really high speed and quality, and like every day is just like great for them, and they do all these things they get accomplished. But like, say you're sick one day, like you may just need that time to just like be by yourself and like recoup and just like get yourself back on the right track. Like if you're sick, you can't be your best version of yourself. So it's okay to kind of just take a step back and just lay in the bed all day and like drink orange juice and water or something and just like watch Netflix. And that could be your best for that day. We're not always going to be super healthy and just able to put 100% forward.
Yeah. And I think we all kind of experienced that to some degree or another during the pandemic, especially in the beginning, right? And we're still talking about the pandemic. We're still reaping the effects of what the pandemic is. And so for a lot of us, we realized we may have been functioning at a level that was way beyond what we should have been. Other people probably realize, oh, I have actually more to give, right? And knowing kind of that might change from one season to the next season. So like even we're talking about like if we're sick or whatever, but like just in seasons in our lives as we get more titles and, things happen, right? And so like my season of motherhood in my best and what I can give to him and in that area of my life is going to look different from what I can give in my business, right? And what I want to give in my business, right? Or what I can give to friendships or whatever. And so sometimes we get upset when we see people giving a certain level to certain areas, but we have to understand that might be that person's threshold for that particular area in their life. And it doesn't always mean that it is the same across the board, right? I've seen people all the time that they function very well in certain settings or like in business, but then they function not as well as far as relationships, but they really, really are giving their best. It just isn't what someone maybe on the outside would like for them to be and don't think that it's their best.
Right. And what you think is your best is what really matters the most. So not like her opinion or his opinion of what your best is. Like whatever you feel like you're capable of doing the most and the best, that's what's important. So think about what you want for yourself and like not others' opinions of like what you're doing or how you're doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always like to bring up my mother. She's as sweet as can be when it comes to that. But sometimes our authority figures, our parents, some even our friends, our spouses, our partners, can lean on us in a way or pull on us in a way that might not even be realistic, right? Sometimes people see maybe more in us than we see in ourselves in a particular time or season, or they have unrealistic expectations of what we should be or what we should be doing. And so it's really important that we make sure that we are doing what is best for us, like you said, like really, and take time to figure out what that is, right? And it's no rush in that. I know a lot of times when I talk to my clients, they're trying to figure out where their next step is and what they should be doing and what their purpose to be doing. And I don't know where I heard this a long time ago, but you'll know because it'll feel good to you, right? And even though like we work hard, but it doesn't feel hard work, right? It doesn't feel, it feels good. It feels rewarding. And so if it doesn't feel good to you, if it doesn't feel rewarding at the end of the day, then you're probably not doing what your purpose to do.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like Dina Cole said, just kind of bring someone along with you, even to help you. So if you want to, bring your friend along or bring your mom or your sister or someone like that, like sometimes that helps you to feel more motivated and more, like rewarded when you're doing things that like you may not want to do all the way, but it makes it more fun to have someone along with you for the ride.
Oh, absolutely. I love a good accountability partner because we talk about being raggedy quite often, and I can slip up and become real raggedy sometimes. So definitely like in even our partnership, right? And then also if you have someone who is very similar to you, but then they shine where you might not shine as much. And so you can play off each other's strengths and weaknesses, which I think is just the best of, the situation.
Yeah, like with the podcast, like you do a lot of the social media stuff and like the business side of things, and I do more of the production. So like we both have our separate like strengths and weaknesses, but we make it work together where it works great.
Absolutely. Because I don't know nothing about that production stuff.
I had to learn, but it wasn't too bad.
I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, you got it. You can handle it. And I think that's great, right? When you can trust someone in that kind of way. But in order for me to trust you, I have to make sure that I can trust, like I'm secure in the part that I have to play, right? Because if I'm thinking and all loopy, then I'm probably going to project that, like we talked about earlier, onto you, right? Which is not going to be healthy or helpful at all.
Yeah, and when you're having like a down day, or I'm having a down day, we're usually really able to pick each other up and like help out where needed. So like say you're having an off day, like I can do social media stuff or vice versa. And so it's nice to have someone who's there to also like pick up that kind of slack if needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hope our Corkies are really taking a mental, spiritual inventory of these four agreements and really trying to apply them to their lives. I'm a when, not if, well, I should say I try to be a win, not if type girl.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that, it's not if something's going to happen, chances are it's a win situation. When is it going to happen? And
Mhm.
so with these 4 agreements, I think we all would like to just pick up the book, read it, and like, okay, I'm never going to take anything personally again, or I'm not making any assumptions when we function in that space for so long, right?
Right.
And so it's going to take practice, consistency, repetition to get out of that space. And so if you can get in the mindset of when, not if, you're going to probably fail at this in the beginning
Mhm.
of really taking these 4 agreements and living by them, then the disappointment of having a bad day or off day and not really doing that is not going to be so detrimental where you just like throw your hands up and say, you know what, I'm not even going to try this. Or it takes you longer to kind of get back momentum of doing these things.
Yeah, you have to be realistic, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And that's really with any kind of goal or thing that we do in life. We really should be realistic. And I think a lot of times we're not. We have these unrealistic expectations of ourselves and others.
Even therapists do. Like,
Unfortunately, we do. We are human just like everyone else. So, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think people
Um,
see, therapists as people who just have it all together and like they know exactly what to do for everything. And that's just not true. We're people just like everyone else.
no, raggedy, raggedy. And some of us are even more raggedier than, than the clients that we see. But I think that's the beauty of it. At least that's how I feel. I don't know if it's just something I've created in my head to make me feel better about it. But who better to be in a position to help others than someone who knows what it feels like themselves, right? And so when we're talking to our clients or talking to people, it's coming from a genuine place,
Yeah.
right? And so I know just like a couple days ago, I shared with someone, my personal journey as far as, my relationship status and, how I'm in the space that I am in now. And, maybe, a few months ago, I wouldn't have been able to share that because I was still in the thick of my grieving process. But, I'm in a much better place today. And
Mhm.
so being able to, disclose a little bit about myself, hopefully in that moment was like, okay, I can get past and kind of move forward like she has too. And there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think clients really appreciate that just openness and not being so closed off. And I think clients really just appreciate you being able to share and not be a secretive person and like show that you really are human too, and that you have these real life experiences that they have as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. Um, as far as you, right? So let's be a little bit transparent, right? As far as the 4 agreements are concerned, which one do you feel like you struggle with the most?
Hmm. Maybe, let's see, let me think about it. Hold on. Um, Maybe like making assumptions I struggle with sometimes.
I was gonna say that one if you asked me.
Oh,
Why do you think you do it?
I mean, sometimes I just assume things before thinking it through clearly. Like I tell my clients, like, well, consider how they may be feeling or what they're going through, right? But I don't always do that right away. So I kind of will skip to an assumption without thinking it through, which is not okay. But that's when I struggle with the most.
Okay.
What about you?
Do you normally assume right?
Most times I think I assume right, but sometimes I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Facts, facts. I'm the same. And I think I justify my assuming because I'm usually right. And so then I'm like, well, why do I have to stop assuming? Because I'm right. But it still is very much so wrong because for those times that I'm not right, right? And it's usually the times that I'm not right where it's like a big deal that I wasn't right in that moment. Or I'm so focused on thinking that I already know, even if I am right, I might miss out or lose important information, or miss out on an opportunity to learn more, or, get a part of the lesson that I was supposed to get. And so I am trying to just kind of slow the pace down. Like what you said, like you're just so, quick and you don't take that pause. And so I am truly learning, right? Because I've had life happen to me, how to just stop and pause, and really humble myself in a way, because I used to be a never person and a can't person. And now I again I mess up sometimes, but I try to never say never. All the things that I said I would never do, I have done.
Mhm.
Some of the things that I thought I couldn't do, I have done. And so life definitely has humbled me and taught me a whole lot. And so sometimes I think because other people may not have learned, right? I get frustrated because I want them to hurry up and learn and move along faster. And I have to remind myself that you were that hard-headed person and it took time, people loving on you, having patience with you, and life happening to you to move along, right? And so I'm just like, oh, I want them to hurry up and get on to the other side so we all can be on the other side together. And it just doesn't work like that.
But it's so sweet when it does happen, to when they finally get to that point and you're like, yes, we've been working so hard to get to this point, and like, look where you started and look where you are. I love to reflect with clients on that and see like, look, you finally did it. Like it took a minute, but it's okay. Like you're here.
Absolutely. Cause I'm like, oh, yes. I'm so happy. Like, come on now. Ooh, we can, yeah, like it's just a relief.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely is something I need to work on. I even can, even in counseling, I can work on not taking things personally. So this is like full disclosure of me as a counselor, right? I sometimes struggle and take personally when my clients do not take my suggestions and actually apply them. Like I get irked sometimes. Like,
Ditto.
like if you just do it, you would get better. Like, listen to me. But I gotta think about, like, again, how many times did people tell me, give me suggestions, and I did not either follow through, or I thought I could do it a different way, a better way. And yeah, so yeah, that's a struggle of mine.
Yeah, and sometimes clients do it their way and it works out just fine too. So sometimes they know what's best for them, right? They
Absolutely.
do their best, they know what's best.
Absolutely. And you're supposed to know yourself better than anyone else, right? And so if someone else does know you better than you know yourself, then that's a problem. That's an issue for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you think you know yourself well?
I think I know myself pretty well, especially during these past 2 years, like with the pandemic and everything. I feel like I've grown a lot and I've been able to go through like lots of life experiences. And I think that I know myself pretty well at
Mm.
this point. I don't think I did like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but just
Mhm.
in recent years, I've been able to, really come into myself and like have, new goals and stuff and just know what I want and where I want to be.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I've seen it too. So it's beautiful to watch. It's so beautiful to
It's a
watch.
transition.
Yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I've literally known you since you were what, junior in high school? And as we mentioned, if you listen to the conference part, one of our speakers, Coach D. Nicole, shout out to her, introduced us. And so she spoke at our conference earlier. And yeah, I think she introduced us when you were like a junior in high school. And so for you to be a grown woman, and
Give or
married,
take.
yeah, like it's so beautiful, like, and then and like even when I'm like, but and you're one person's like, I really didn't do the like that much. It's like, oh, okay, all right. She does know. She knows more than I know. She's doing it. So you definitely have helped teach me, like, okay, just let people be. They'll get it together, and or they didn't never need to get it together because they already have it together, like you.
It always, I don't have it all together, I promise. But it does always work out. And we've known each other now for, I guess it's been 11 years. 12 years almost, right? And I've seen you be able to grow into like this amazing adult yourself, like a mother and like a mentor and like a business owner and just like a dope
Oh,
therapist. So it's really cool to watch you kind of be ahead of me and like follow your footsteps. So I kind of take your lead a lot of times with things. I'm still learning myself, like how to
don't
be
do
like a
it.
good therapist. So I'm like, I can just count on Heather for these things.
Don't do that to yourself. No, I'm just teasing. Thank you so much for that. So speaking of, right, we're doing our like mid-year check-ins, right? So we started this year, like we're gonna become whole, or we're gonna continue to grow on this journey we call life. How do you feel like you've done so far this year as far as the things that you want to accomplish? Of course, you checked off like a huge major one, but what about some of the other ones that you had?
I think, let's see. So maybe the beginning of the year, I wasn't doing so much personally. I was just kind of working and like doing like wedding planning and stuff like that, and just kind of like diving into that stuff. And so now recently that's kind of over, I'm able to do more like private practice work, accept more clients, start like another business and stuff like that. So I'm really like honing in on those things now more so. So I think starting in like, May, June is where it kind of picked up for me. The first like 6 months or so, we're kind of like, just kind of like living and doing this life thing. But now I'm like really buckling down and saying like, I'm going to have this and this done by the end of this year and different things like that.
Okay. Is there anything that you can share about what you're going to do? I'll hold you accountable. All the Courtneys out here bother her about her goals and holding her accountable.
I mean, I guess one of them is I've created a new business with like itinerary planning. So like planning people's trips and itineraries. If you know me, I love to travel and I've always made my own itineraries for like the past 6 years or so. And I just like love to plan and schedule things. And I'm not always like a strict follower of my like schedule, but I like to have something in place. So people have been asking me for a long time to like make one for them or like want to make a business they want to support. So I decided to finally just kind of start that off this year. So I'm really working on kind of building that up and getting a business plan together and like a website and different stuff like that to kind of kick it into full gear.
Cool. Super cool. I definitely plan on being a customer. That is so awesome. I love how you said sometimes, like in the beginning, you were just kind of, focused on only a few things, and now you're kicking it up. And so I think that's good for people to know. Just because you weren't like fired up in the beginning doesn't mean that you can't, turn the switch on now. And so that's part of like what the conference is about. Like, let's get refueled, let's get fired up, and coast for the rest of the year, hopefully.
Yeah, you can always pick up things later. Like some people say, like, okay, new year, new me. I'm gonna get everything done in January. And that's not true, right? You can have ideas and stuff, but like you can start something in November. It doesn't have to be first thing of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find that it's easier to start things now because it's all the hoopla has kind of died down.
Mm,
And I can kind of like focus a little bit more.
yeah. And the weather's good and nice and you feel better. Sometimes the weather really impacts how you feel, right? When it's cold and rainy and snowy, sometimes you're like not as motivated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that is such a great point. Cause I'll be wanting to start the year off and then it's like, not yet. But then now catch me. What the kids are saying? I'm outside, like I'm doing.
Okay, so I had to so Heather, so now that we're in June, have you accomplished any goals for yourself this year that you had set in mind to do?
Kind of like you in the beginning, I was just like, I just got to get to the end of the school year. Like anybody who came in contact with me, I was like, I'm just trying to make it to the end of the school year. So I made it to the end of the school year. And so since school has been out, I feel like I've like really kicked it into high gear. I sat and just kind of looked at all the stuff that I wanted to do and should have been doing. And I'm a lister too. So have been slowly chipping away at that. So I'm good. I feel really good about the place I am in right now. I don't have like, oh, I should have been doing this or that really. depending on the day and the time that you talk to me. But for the most part, overall, I'm really excited about my private practice, which is growing. I'm of course super excited about the podcast and all the great things that we are doing with expanding the network and the merchandise that we have out now and the plans for more merchandise and the retreat. So the podcast definitely is close and dear to my heart. But yeah, so I'm excited about the place. I've been doing traveling a lot lately, which I'm super excited about, to be outside a little bit more. So I really can't complain. I feel like if I can keep this same momentum, not even like for just the rest of the year, but just in my life period, like I really feel like I'll have like a nice, whole, peaceful, kind of happy existence.
Yes. Is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to share with us, that you have coming up this year?
Not really.
Heather is a whole business.
Like what?
She's a whole business owner. She's like a boss, like literally some people's boss. She's working hard.
I started to post that the other day, like y'all need to stop calling yourself bosses if y'all not bosses of people. Like you gotta be a boss to be a boss. But then I was like, that's kind of petty. What did I share? One of the things that I do, I'm an author, so I write children's books. Oh, I have written children's books so far, but I do want to publish another children's book and a non-children's book before the end of the year. So two more of my own personal books. And then I also work with other authors to help them publish their books. So I want to, we have one that's coming down the tailpipe and I'm really trying to push so I can have that one come out for her this year.
Awesome.
So that's like my main, what I'm working on, building up my publishing company. And then like, I guess in this setting, this will be good because we have so many people from walks of life. I actually dropped the bomb on Arielle earlier, but I really want to put together a platform to honor mental health, social workers, life coaches. And so I will be putting together an award ceremony, and it will hopefully be something that we can do annually to just shine a spotlight on us, because we have been working hard. Like if you work in this setting in any type of capacity, we have been working hard, y'all, right? Prior to the pandemic, we were working hard. In the pandemic, working hard, and we're still working hard. So I want to do something to give back in that type of way.
That's amazing. Look at you.
Girl, don't start.
So we're just out here just doing our best, like the fourth agreement says, right? We're just doing what we can, just doing our best, and that's all that matters, right? That we can avoid, self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret by just doing what we want to do and just doing our best and making it the best that we possibly can.
And doing what we like. And I think everything that you and I mentioned is something that we like. Like you thoroughly enjoy like putting the itineraries and like planning and stuff like that. And so
yeah, it's actually a passion of mine outside of therapy. So it's nice to have like another field to enter into that's not therapy, because I do therapy like literally all day. So it's nice to be able to have something else to work on too.
Absolutely. So we want to hear from y'all, Corkies. Like, what are y'all up to these days? How is your mid-year check-in? DM us online, email us, let us know. Like, we really, really want to hear from y'all. If there are any future podcast episodes that you are curious for us to talk about, that you want to know more about, please let us know. Y'all know we are really flexible, really open. Like, we're just us out here in these streets. So we want to hear from you.
Yes, contact us. And thank you for listening today.
Bye.